It's time for this week's episode of Brandon Sports Talk, featuring in-depth interviews from those who are trending in the world of athletics. And now, here's the host of Brandon Sports Talk, Brandon Pate.
Welcome back to Brandon Sports Talk. In today's episode, I have the privilege to interview the San Francisco Giants strength and coordinating coach for the Latin America, Andrea Nuez. How are you doing today?
Good. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. Can you talk about how you knew that you wanted to work in professional sports as a strength and coordinating coach?
Yeah, so I knew that I wanted to work in sports. The second I knew that I wasn't going to go pro in my own athletic career, I knew that I wanted to stay in sports, and I knew that myself as an athlete, loved my own strength conditioning coach in college, and I really wanted to pursue that route. I know how much he helped me be competitive and be able to compete at the highest levels against girls who were much bigger than I was. And so I wanted to be able to do the same thing for somebody else. And so when I knew my career as an athlete was coming to an end, I definitely knew that strength and conditioning was what I wanted to do.
What was it like to be the strength and conditioning coach in the UFC?
So worked at the UFC as a coach. It was more on the personal training side of things. So it's more for the general population. And it was awesome. I mean, they take you through a whole week of their own certification where you're pretty much, it's a week of fight week. The MMA fighters, they have their own fight camp and whatnot. So they pretty much take you through a week of what that entails. And it is so intense. It's so much fun. You learn a lot from not only the strength conditioning side of things, but you learn a little bit of Muay Thai and boxing and grappling. So it's really, really fun. And I had a lot of experiences working at the UFC gym. I had a manager who was very, very tough, and he taught us a lot. And so it was really fun.
What was the transition like from going from the UFC to, of course, Major League Baseball with the Los Angeles Angels?
Completely different, right? You're going from a business where you pretty much are making your own money based on how much you sell and whatnot. And then you go into another business where you're getting paid to develop big monsters, so completely different beasts. Both are businesses, but they're completely different. And in that sense, I think that's the biggest difference. But I enjoyed the transition because it allowed me to concentrate on what I wanted to do, which was coaching. I wasn't so much interested on selling, but the coaching side of things is what interested me the most. And so that was really fun to be able to just concentrate on that.
Of course, what was your time like with the Los Angeles Angels?
It was amazing. It was great. I learned a ton. I got to meet some amazing people. I got to work with some amazing people, both on the staff and the athletes. It was great. I think it was the perfect introduction to the pro sports world. I had my battles. I had learning experiences. I grew as a person, as a coach, and really being able to network with so many amazing people who are 10 times, smarter than I am, and being able to learn from them. It was great. I am so appreciative of them allowing me to enter the sports world with the Angels. I knew from the get-go that I wanted to work in pro sports, and I had someone who believed in me and gave me a chance to be able to prove that I can do just as a coach as any other man can do. And I am very grateful for the Angels and for Lee Fiocchi and Ryan Cronin, who were essentially the ones who hired me.
What was the transition like from going from the Angels to the Giants?
It was an easy transition because I already knew what pro baseball was all about, and the Giants are an amazing organization where, they welcome you, and they welcome you as you are, and they empower you as the person who you are. And so it was a really easy transition because the Giants made it so. They were very welcoming. Anything that I needed from any aspect of life, they were very welcoming. So it was definitely easy, and it's been amazing.
What are some of your roles as working as an MLB strength and conditioning coach?
So for when I was with the Angels as strength conditioning coach, you're definitely focused on the development of the players who are in front of you. You don't get, whether you're in spring training or once you're on your own with your own team, it's really just about those who are right in front of you. And so, I mean, the athletes make it so much fun, right? You're in charge of making sure that, their nutrition is on point, that their recovery is on point, that, the strength side of things in the weight room is up to par to where they should be. You have to monitor whether, they're ready for a game or not, how you're going to adapt, whether they're tired or whether they're feeling, because as pro athletes, they're never going to feel 100%, but you have to work towards that goal to get them as prepared as they can be for the games at the end of the day, because they're there to play baseball and they're there to perform on the field. And as an assistant coordinator now with the Giants, it's a lot more, how can I say this, broader, I guess you can say. And so not only am I in charge of the athletes, but also the coaches who are under me to help the athletes develop, because it's such an important developmental stage where, they're just getting started, and you want to give them a good foundation, not only to your athletes, but to the coaches who you're in charge of. So it's amazing. It's really, really fun. It's a whole lot more work than it is to be just a strength conditioning coach, but it's been great.
What is the process, of course, of getting the athletes, once they're injured, back to full capacity? For example, like let's say if Garrett Cole was a Giant, what would that process be like for Garrett Cole?
So the process would be a lot different, just because I am not in charge of that. There is an actual return to performance coordinator and strength conditioning coach who handles that. So in that sense, for instance, if he was under my supervision when he was injured, then he would be passed on to the rehab coordinator so that they could take him through the process of getting back to performance.
What is something that you learned now that you didn't know before becoming a strength and conditioning coach on the professional level?
Just everything that I'm capable of doing. I mean, I would say that I believe in myself 1,000%, but I also think that you need other people to be able to see you through their own eyes, because I mean, I have people behind me that believe I can take over the world. And I know I can take over the world, but having others around you that feel the same way just empowers you to be able to do so much more than you ever thought you were capable of doing. So for me, I think that's the biggest thing, being able to not only prove to myself, but, to the people who believe in me that yes, I can do it, I can be better, I can develop, and I can pretty much, as they would say, I can take over the world if I wanted to. So in that sense, that's the biggest thing that I've learned. It's just that I am so much bigger than I thought I was capable of.
What is it like now with COVID being a big factor? What is it like now as a strength and conditioning coach?
It changes things completely, right? I mean, being a coach is very hands-on. It's very, big groups. You want to be able to interact as much as possible with all the players, and with all the COVID protocols, it makes it a little harder to be able to do that. But I think we've been able to manage just fine, and just making sure that we're following the protocols. And you adapt because at the end of the day, as long as we can keep playing baseball, they can keep on piling on the protocols, we're going to follow them. But as long as we can play baseball, It doesn't matter. So it's been a little different. I wouldn't say tough. I would just say it's been different, but we've been able to manage, and we've gone back to baseball, which is the most important thing.
What is a game day like as a strength and conditioning coach?
It's a long one. So I personally get up earlier than the players and some of the coaches, because I want to get to the complex early enough to be able to do my own workouts. That is my sanity, which allows me to be able to handle, so many kids, so many athletes. So for me, I start really early. Right now in the DR, I get there about 5:30, get my lift in, and then, start the day. You want to make sure that you're having pre-day meetings with staff, with your coaches. You want to make sure that everybody knows what they're supposed to be doing. You want to set up stations. You want to set up conditioning sessions, activations. You want to set up stretch areas. You pretty much just want to get the day started, and after that it's a full go. I mean, you're going from an activation to a stretch to a lift, you're finishing that up, so you're going to a conditioning session next, and it's over and over. It's a very long day, but it is what it is. That is what your job entails. You want to make sure that the guys are hydrated. You want to make sure that what supplements they're supposed to be taking. You want to make sure that they're eating correctly. And so it's a lot of work, and it's a lot of moving parts, but at the end of the day, it's what we signed up for, and I love it. It's a lot of fun.
What are some of your future plans as a strength and conditioning coach?
I want to be able to get to a director role. I think that I am well on my way. I know I have a lot to learn still, but I want to be able to really be able to have a huge impact on a team, because I think that with who I am as a person, with my personality, and the knowledge that I've developed and the skills that I have, I think that I would be great at it. I'm definitely not ready for it now, but I do know that that's essentially where I want to be.
How has, of course, your experience with the USC and, of course, with the Angels helped you to where you are now with the Giants?
I mean, just failing. Because I failed at the UFC with certain things. I failed with the Angels with certain things, and not taking those failures as, set in stone. That's it. I'm not good at what I do. No, just taking them as what they are. They're just stepping stones, and so being able to use those failures to be better as a person and as a coach, as a professional, it helped me to where I am today. If I didn't fail so many times, I wouldn't have developed into who I am today. And so failures have been, my blessings in disguise, and they have helped me become who I'm supposed to be. And I'm grateful for them.
What advice would you give someone looking to become a strength and conditioning coach on the professional level?
You're going to have to do a couple of things. One, as I just spoke about, fail. You're going to have to be okay with failing multiple times, because it's needed. It's going to happen. You have to learn how to just simply learn from them and move on. They don't define you. You define who you are at the end of the day. Nobody else does. Not a failure, not even an achievement does it define who you are. Only you do that. And you're going to have to expose yourself to different environments, whether it's an internship or whether it's getting your name out there by working for someone who might already be in the pro sports world. I think is going to be a key. And more importantly, just being yourself, because at the end of the day, there's only one Andrea Nuez, there's only one Brandon, so it's like you have to be you, because that's it. That's the gift that you give to this world. Nobody else can do that except for you. So buying into who you are and letting people see who you are is going to be the key to be able to succeed in not this field, but any field.
That's wonderful advice. Where can my listeners find you at on social media?
Yeah, I'm mostly active on Instagram. My handle is excuses0_. I'm also on Twitter with the same handle, but I'm not as active. Mostly I'm just on Instagram, and that's where they can definitely find me if they need to reach out.
Thank you again, Andrea Nuez, for your interview, and best of luck in your future with the San Francisco Giants as a strength and conditioning coach.
Thank you.
You can find Brandon Sports Talk on Facebook at Brandon Sports Talk, Instagram at Brandon Sports Talk, Twitter at Talk_Brandon, and you can find me on YouTube at Brandon Sports Talk. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you again, Andrea Nuez, for your interview, and best of luck.
You've been watching Brandon Sports Talk. Please feel free to like, share, and subscribe to Brandon Sports Talk on social media and on YouTube.